We tend to think of intelligence as this ultimate superpower, right? The sharper it is, the better off we are. But what if that's not the whole story? What if genius itself has a kind of built-in blind spot?
I mean, we celebrate brilliance, we reward intellect. But what if that very thing we value most, our greatest asset, actually has a fatal flaw? What if intelligence, when it's just left to its own devices, can lead us down a path of profound error? That's the huge question we're diving into today.
So, here's our roadmap. We'll start with this idea of the genius with a blind spot. Then, we'll look at two case studies that are total opposites, one on destructive brilliance and the other on something called luminous insight. From there, we'll uncover the missing link, wisdom. And finally, we'll wrap up with a powerful framework called karmic intelligence.
All right, let's get right into it. The first core idea, and this comes from the Bhagavad Gita, is that intelligence isn't the master of the house. It's a powerful instrument for sure, but it's not the source of truth. It needs a guide.
And this is where we have to make a really crucial distinction. On one side, you have what's called buddhi, or intelligence. Think of it like a high-speed processor in a computer. It's amazing at analyzing, categorizing, and predicting. But on the other side, you have jñāna, or wisdom. And wisdom, well, it's not a processor. It's a light source. It doesn't just compute reality, it reveals it. Big difference.
This quote just nails it. Wisdom, or true knowledge, is like the sun. The sun doesn't just give you one more piece of data, right? No, it lights up the entire landscape. And that's what allows your intelligence, your processor, to actually see things as they really are. Without that light, well, your intelligence is just operating in the dark. And when that super smart processor is working in the dark, it tends to make three huge mistakes. First, there's ontological confusion, basically mistaking the tool for the source of truth. Then you get ethical blindness, which is all about separating what we can do from what we should do. And finally, karmic amnesia, and this is a big one, where we chase the quick win and totally ignore the long-term fallout.
Okay, so theory is one thing. Let's see how these errors play out in the real world. We're going to look at a classic example of destructive brilliance, a truly catastrophic failure of intelligence running wild without wisdom.
I'm talking about the Manhattan Project. I mean, what a staggering achievement of pure intelligence, right? You had the brightest minds on the planet solving this incredibly complex problem of how to split the atom. But in doing so, they walked right into all three of those traps. They treated the bomb like just a technical puzzle, they kind of outsourced the moral responsibility, and they completely sidelined the question of the long-term consequences for all of humanity.
And the crucial thing to understand here is that this wasn't a failure of information. These scientists weren't ignorant people. The Gita has a specific word for this, jñāna. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's a state of misdirected perception. The intelligence is firing on all cylinders, working perfectly, but its perception is totally skewed. It's active, but it's blind.
All right, so that was pretty heavy. Now let's flip the script completely and look at the polar opposite. We're going from a story of destructive power to one of profound, humble insight. This is what it looks like when intelligence is perfectly aligned with its source.
In our example here is the legendary mathematician Srinivasa Ramanujan. I mean, this guy's intelligence was just otherworldly. But listen to how he talked about it. He never claimed ownership. He never said, look what I figured out. He said his insights came to him as revelations. For him, genius wasn't some act of ego. It was an act of reception.
And that is the key difference, right there. His whole approach was built on humility, devotion, and surrender. He saw his intelligence as this incredible gift, not something he owned or could exploit. And because of that mindset, his brilliant mind never collapsed into arrogance. It remained luminous.
So we've seen two totally different paths, one where intelligence leads to destruction, the other to incredible revelation. So what's the deal? What's the underlying mechanism that decides which path intelligence takes? Well, this is where we come back to wisdom. It is the missing link. It's what reconnects that powerful processor back to the truth.
The Gita gives us this really useful framework called the gunas. Think of them as three basic forces that shape our consciousness and our intelligence. You've got rajasic intelligence, which is all passion, drive, and control. Then there's tamasic intelligence. That's the inert, dull, resistant to change mode. But then there's sattvic intelligence, and that's the one we're aiming for. It's luminous. It has the clarity to actually see what ought to be done and what ought to be avoided.
And this is such an important point to really get. Wisdom, jñāna, isn't about collecting more facts or becoming a walking encyclopedia. Its real job is to destroy ignorance at the root.
It's about removing those cloudy, distorting filters, the rajasic and tamasic ones, so that the natural, clear, sattvic light of your intelligence can just shine through.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we put all these pieces together? Let's get to the solution. It's all about activating what the source material calls karmic intelligence, which is this beautiful synthesis of wisdom and action.
So what exactly is karmic intelligence? Put simply, it's intelligence that knows its place. It lets itself be guided by wisdom. It stays aware of its source, and it holds itself accountable for its consequences. An intelligence like this doesn't try to just dominate reality. It participates in it, responsibly.
So let's just boil this whole thing down to its absolute essence. Ready? Intelligence explains.
Wisdom reveals.
And karmic intelligence aligns.
And that leaves us with one final question to take away. A question for you. We all have intelligence, this amazing processor. But is your intelligence just clever, or is it luminous?